Indiana Fever got a huge win tonight against the Seattle Storm, 95-75. They're now sixth in a competitive playoff race. But I want to talk about, should the Fever bring back Caitlin Clark? Because who they got coming up next is the Sparks, who have owned them all season long, and the Valkyries. And they got to go to Phoenix after that. There are reports that Caitlin Clark is ramping up. That was said by Stephanie White. She's told reporters that she wants to see her in practice, live in practice, wants to see her continue to work to not just build endurance, but to be able to handle contact, not forfeit as it's going to be in game, and to be able to do that and sustain from an endurance standpoint. Totally understand. But here's the thing right now, when you're looking at the standings for the playoff race, the Fever are separated by, let's see, 1.5 games. The Sparks are going to play a game before they meet up. But if the Sparks win that game, so the Sparks played the Mercury tonight, so I won't know until tomorrow the final result. But let's just say they beat the Phoenix Mercury. They win at home. Then they got Indiana at home. If they beat the Fever, then that puts the Fever at 2019, and the Sparks will own the tiebreaker. And then let's just say they lose to the Valkyries, the Fever do, in back-to-back. Now you're at 20-20. And at that point, do you bring back Caitlin Clark? Let's say she's healthy. Should you even try to fight for the 8th seed? Because your opponent is going to be the Minnesota Lynx, and the Lynx are going to destroy them. It's as simple as that. They're the best basketball team right now in the WNBA. I noticed the Aces are playing better. They've been turning things around. I'm not going to count the New York Liberty because of the champs. But is it worth getting to the playoffs just to get swept? Or maybe you get a game against Minnesota. I don't know. At that rate, it's just hard to determine. I would look at Friday as a breaking point and Sunday's game. Because if the Fever end up, going 1-1 or winning both games, then yeah, you bring back Caitlin Clark. But if they lose both games, do you even just decide to bring her back? Because then, let's say they're no longer in the top 8. Do you try to fight for that 8 seed? Or do you just say, you know what, let's play for next season. Let's get everybody back and see what we can do by looking at this roster, reevaluating things, because they definitely need to do that. And we'll bring back Caitlin Clark healthy. You play the long game. Look, I know it's been a frustrating season for the Fever, but I'm just not risking Caitlin Clark just to try and make the 8 seed. That's just my personal opinion, because your opponent is going to be the Lynx, and they got no shot. Let's just be honest. Like, the Lynx are just so dominant. And the biggest thing is this: when you've been healthy a lot of the year, and you have more chemistry together because you've had more reps playing basketball, that just has a huge advantage. Like, the Lynx will go in because they've made the WNBA finals, and I just think they're going to overwhelm them. And it's not a shot at the Fever. It's just like, when you go into a series like that and you have, players out, like Cunningham's out for the year. We know that, DeWan and Bonner was supposed to work out, but, Bonner said, no, I'm not staying here. McDonald's out for the year. They don't have, as many bodies. Now, I know they have the new player they brought in. It was Odyssey Sims. She had 22 points, a good showing tonight. That's a positive, but can she sustain that? She's a vet, so maybe you can justify, because now you have 4 people who are actually really 5, because Howard can get you 20 a night. You got 5 people who can give you 20. I don't know. Dantas got a few buckets, but we know how she's a liability on defense. And Brianna Turner's solid. Chloe Bitter, I saw a report that she's out right now. Of course, we just talked about Colson. I meant to say Colson. She's out for the year. So it's just hard to justify, should you bring back Caitlin Clark, when your next 2 opponents, they've just owned the Fever. And if Clark can make a return by Friday, that would be awesome. I don't know if she will be, right? It's just tough. Then you're asking her to play in a situation where you got to try and make the playoffs. So the intensity is going to be up. And those 2 teams are obviously going to look to knock out the Fever. And you have to wonder, like, with the way the refs are handling games, not making calls, not taking control of situations, do you risk getting Caitlin Clark back? Because we saw a situation with Tyrese Halliburton where he had a calf strain. And my biggest concern in that series against the Thunder was that could be an Achilles eventually. And sure enough, in Game 7, now, of course, the NBA Finals is different. You got to play your guys. And in this situation, I would think of it like a Luka Doncic, where a couple years ago when he was in Dallas, the Mavericks said, we're not going to play for the 8th seed. So they rested him down the stretch, and they also rested Kyrie. They got a good draft pick. They picked up Derek Lively, and they made the NBA Finals a year later. I know they didn't win it, but that's a scenario where it's like, we got to play the long game with our best player. And I would just do that. I understand it can be frustrating because you see talks of other players getting shine right now, like Paige Beckers, rightfully so, even though she struggled the last 2 games. And then you look at Angel Reese, who's been playing much better. I got to give her credit. She's been hooping and she's shooting much better from the field. But it's just part of the game. When a person's out, fans forget about them. They move on to the next best thing and forget how good that player was until they return. It's just frustrating all around because you want to see the Fever in a better spot. I know Caitlin's been in and out of the lineup pretty much since the month of May. And, now you have to deal with the Sparks and the Valkyries on the road. It's going to be a test of their character. And I'm very curious to see how Stephanie White handles the situation because if she can get the Fever, like, in that 6th seed spot, that would be interesting because now you got to deal with the Aces. I know they're playing really good basketball. They've won 11 in a row. Like, they're on fire right now. But you got Clark coming back, and that would be a fun first round series. Oh, man, that'd be a lot of fun. But they got to win these next 2 games, in my opinion, to justify it. I just think, getting a split's not good enough, especially at this time of the year. Huge win tonight against the Storm. I mean, it's encouraging to see Odyssey Sims go off because you're going to need her production down the stretch. I think that's very huge for the Fever if she can find a way to get her game going because she's a bucket getter. My only concern with the Fever is, are they going to have enough playmaking in these next 2 games? Because if Clark's not playing and you don't have enough people moving the ball around, that's where the concern lies. Because I just want to look at the stats for the assists tonight with the game against the Storm. I know this clip keeps hopping. Let me hit this on pause. So a total assist was 22. That's not bad. I mean, Sims and Howard had 6 assists. That's really good. You're going to have to get players buying into a system without Clark. And, Kelsey Mitchell's more of a scorer. So someone else has to get that ball moving around. If they don't, then they're going to be very stagnant on offense. And then you got to deal with a Sparks team who's athletic. They love the run. They're dangerous. It'd be hard to deal with. However, if the Fever win the next 2 games, you're in that 6th spot. You create some separation because, again, if they beat the Sparks, that's a huge win. And if they beat the Valkyries, that's big as well because now you've created some separation. And then down the stretch, the Fever, after they play them, they got the Mercury. If she can return for the Mercury game and they can pull that out, then yeah, now it's like, okay, the Fever playing good. They've got momentum, but can they get there is the question. Can they end up, getting to a point where they get a win streak going? They've had a win streak this year, but it's been pretty. I think they won they won about, if I recall, see, they won 6 in a row. No, not 6. I'm sorry. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. It was 5 in a row. Sorry, 5 in a row, which is good. But then lost a tough game against Dallas. See, the games they were supposed to win really hurt them this year. They should have beat Dallas. That's a bad loss. They had a game earlier against the Aces that had a lead and they lost it. The fourth quarter has been bad. Like, they haven't been really good in the fourth quarter this year. I understand some of it's injury and some of it's just not executing. That is on the coach. Like, I can't say it enough. Like, Stephanie White's good at game planning, but adjustments in a game, she's just not good at it at all. And I get why people want her gone. Totally get it. But I'd love to hear your thoughts about this situation because I know they're trying to fight for a playoff spot. Do you bring back Caitlin Clark if they lose the next 2 games? Or do you say, you know what, let's play for next season, rest her up so we can get back to that standard of winning we had the season before? Love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.